and I'm here with my colleagues on our knees to beg the president, the headmaster, education office, and then our fellow Ghanaians. We are sorry for our videos that went viral. We didn't mean for it to go viral. It was a childish play. We are sorry and we are on our knees. Our education means a lot to us. It's our future. We are on our knees that the president should please call us back. And we call on to the teachers to join with us to plead that the teachers should call us back.
And this afternoon, that's the touching and heart-piercing apology rendered by the 8 students dismissed or by the Chiana Senior High School in the Katsina-Nankana West District of the Upper West region to the president, of course, asking the president to consider revising the sanction meted out against them by school management. The girls in a viral video last year made derogatory statements against President Akufo-Addo. The Ghana Education Service, in a statement earlier today, described their action as undesirable, hence their dismissal. So here are excerpts of what it is that the Ghana Education Service has to say about this. And for us to understand this, we understand that GES has put out a statement explaining that. So excerpts of it indicate that management of the Ghana Education Service has given approval for the dismissal of 8 students with immediate effect to serve as a deterrent to other students. Now, the situation is in reference to the derogatory comments made in that viral video, a conduct considered very undesirable and contrary to the acceptance and the standards of conduct generally required to any student in our education system of Ghana. Beyond that, the statement indicates that the students are requested to properly hand over any school property in their possession to the headmistress of the school before leaving. It is also expected that the students will use this as a major turning point in their lives to bring the desired change in their behaviors and attitude towards life. We wish them all the best in their future endeavor. But there are concerns the sanctions meted out to the girls are harsh, especially as they are very young. They have shown a deep sense of remorse. The minority in parliament, for instance, sees the dismissal as retrogressive. Though they condemn the actions of the girls, they argue that every Ghanaian child deserves to be in school in accordance to the articles and stipulations within Article 25 of the 1992 Constitution. I'll be engaging the ranking member on Parliament's Education Committee, Peter Notchu-Kotui, shortly. But first, I want you to listen to some of the views on the streets of Accra and the concerns of some Ghanaians about the situation.
In such disrespect is not good at all. And also I'd like to plead on behalf of the kids to the GS that such punishment is too much. Though they deserve some punishment, but not as in dismissing the kids. Because since they are now being dismissed, at least no school would like to admit such case in their school. So I'll plead with the GS to find a different means of punishing those cases. And as our leaders always say, the young ones are our future generations. And now, these kids are being dismissed. No school for them again. And how are they going to be our future leaders? And also to help in the progression of the country. So I'm pleading with the GS to find ways and means to, different ways and means to give the kids some punishments.
The punishment is not good at all. Because dismissing these children, maybe some can become armed robbers and some some will fall into drugs and a lot of things. But at least you should even say that, oh, you people should go home 1 month time, then you will come back to school and learn. Because these people, the one that you sack, maybe they can be the president in future, we don't know. So then insultment there, but I don't know some people the way they feel. But I mean, insultment don't move my body.
I think it's too harsh because we are in a country where there is freedom of speech, okay? And if you are of age, you can make your expression known to the public. So I think it's too harsh. They should have actually cautioned them for them to think about what they said. But to dismiss them without any cautioning, I think it's just too harsh the students?
Well, when it comes to being right, I think they are right, but the dismissal is too much. I think it's too much. When I believe if it comes to being suspended, I think that would be the right thing to me.
You as a student, you can talk to your teachers, find ways to measure how like everything is going on in the country. Then you like what you did, even as the social media saw it, you can be like, oh, this and this and this. Like how we listen to you insult the president, there could be the same way that we could also listen to you when you brought a best opinion. So what they did was right in a way, but it's not too harsh for me though.
Well, I personally, I think they are right, but the punishment is too harsh. Okay, if that is the extreme punishment for the case, I think they should amend it. But then the case, on the other hand, were very disrespectful, very disrespectful. It's, insulting a president is a low blow. They should go like maybe some weeks or a month suspension. Come back with hard punishments inside, like reading or scrubbing the pantry bowls like most of them did in SHS, yes.
Well, to me, as a Ghanaian, those students, they are also Ghanaian as we. So we first have to think about their future. Despite they've said something that is not right, we have, I believe we have others who can sit them down, correct them, but they shouldn't be punished that would destroy their life, because education is very important in our life. So I believe they should totally dismiss is not the right way.
Actually, it was bad for this like type of case can even put the camera in front of their face and you know, saying so many words to the government, which is bad. But also, the punishment is kind of very high, you know, for like such a student. If they can do something about this punishment, that would be good.
To my best of opinion, I feel the children shouldn't be sacked. Once they are students and they fall under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, certain punishment can be given to them instead of them being sacked. Let's look at the future. Their education is at stake. You know, they are kids, and with the education level, that is the only way they can survive in this country. So when you sack them and they go back home, think about it. What are they going to do? Okay, so if they don't turn out to be street children, they end up to the unemployment society, which is going to be very bad. Okay, so I feel certain punishment could be given to them for them to still stay back in school.
As for this punishment, for me, you know, it is too much for them because they are too young.
The views on the streets of Accra. I want to bring in now Peter Nochu-Kutu, his ranking member in Parliament's Education Committee. That minority has issued a statement raising concerns with this latest happening. And I'm grateful, Honourable, that you're able to speak to us here on the poll. So exactly what are your concerns as the minority side of the House?
Yeah. Let me begin by saying that we condemn the behavior of the students of Chiana SHS, and under no circumstance will the minority support that misconduct. Yeah, but going forward, we feel that the dismissal of the students from the school is a harsh decision. Harsh because these are young girls who need guidance and counseling. They have misconducted themselves, but they needed to be sat down and educated very well on good behavior and conduct. So we, as a minority, are of the view that there's a need to mitigate the punishment being given to them for various reasons. Now, if you dismiss these girls from school, where are they going? As somebody said, they may end up in the streets. And with frustration, they can go into even prostitution and any other thing.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, this is a disciplinary action. Why haven't you asked that question in other cases where we've seen students get dismissed simply because they breach school
it's a
rules.
disciplinary action, but the disciplinary action should not destroy the child. You see, we should not destroy the future of the child. Who knows what these children will become in the future? So let us guide them, counsel them, and make sure that they put up a good behavior. Dismissing them can deter others, but it's not a good punishment in this case. So if you look at the concluding paragraph of our statement, we say that well, this misconduct was towards the president, so we are calling on the president to pardon them as he had done before, because as children, we need to bring them up, educate them, and then guide them as to what to do. I understand the trauma they are going through now, and if much is not done about it immediately, frustration and other things will set in. More so when they are now in the final year, and very soon they will be writing their final examinations. So, as we know, punishment is to correct and not to destroy. So let us see how best we can punish them. Is it suspension or demonetization? Let's look at those options, and then that can serve as a deterrent to others. So we punish to correct and not to destroy.
Are you saying that dismissal is not part of the protocols for exacting punishments in the GES curriculum?
Dismissal should be the last resort where no other options are not available. You see,
right.
Look at what even happened at Legon last week, the suspension of students who were in the Commonwealth for the leadership. They were suspended. It's not dismissal, you see. So when you suspend a student for an offense, I think it is a corrective measure. So that is what the GES should have done. Suspend them, and then after some time, they come back to school. I think that will be a better option than dismissing these teenagers. What do you expect them to do? It will affect them for the rest of their lives, and that will not augur well for the country.
And it's not as though these school children have no other opportunity. They have alternatives all around the country, and they could reapply, get into school, get educated, and get the WASI certificate.
No, you see, once you are dismissed from the Ghana Education Service, I doubt if any government-assisted secondary school will admit them again. They'll have to go into a private school. And you see, this trauma will follow them wherever they go. But if they receive pardon, I think they will learn to conduct themselves very well. And they will rather become people who will carry message along that, hey, my people, my colleagues, don't do this, don't do that. And they will also become an agent of a change rather than we are doing to them now.
If the president fails to accept your plea, because you are pleading with the president to intervene, issue a presidential fiat, get the school children back into school. If he fails to do that, what would the minority do about this?
Oh, I know the president will not refuse our call. He's the father, he's the grandfather, and many people have insulted him even more than this before. So I am sure he will pardon them. He will not fail to listen to this humble call that we are making. But let me also add that there's the need to strengthen the guidance and counseling unit in our schools. I think if we strengthen them and they are able to carry out their activities and programs very well, we will get students or children who will not behave in this way. And then in addition, as parents, how we also speak before our children is very, very important. You know, a few years ago, somebody on radio who said that it is not an offense to insult the president. And these children have listened to us. So there's a need for us to be decorous in whatever we also say or do before our children, so that they don't learn bad things from us. So the president, I know, will listen, and that will bring the matter.
And is it not interesting that we don't have the minority in Parliament calling out the school authorities, the heads of the institutions, for instance? We see a clear case of students in possession of mobile devices, which is clearly not allowed in senior high schools, and we're not calling for heads to roll as well.
Oh, we have, I think it's a policy by the Ministry of Education that students at the senior high school should not have mobile phones with them. but they have not listened to the. I think parents are also to blame in their direction. If we all collaborate with the school heads, I think the government or the ministry's directive will be carried out. But going forward, that's why we say if there's a guidance and counseling unit well strengthened and they are up to the task, I think some of these misdemeanors will not occur in our schools. So there's a need to strengthen that unit so that they can counsel our students as soon as they enter the secondary schools.
And just on a lighter note, the belief is that these children have parents who belong to the NDC. A reason why they're picking up some of the insults lines from their parents who are against President Akufo-Addo. That's just on a lighter note. I don't know if you have any comments to make on that. A reason for which you're pleading for that.
I disagree with you because who knows? You see, as a father, I may have children who are not NDC.
Right.
Yes, so for the political consideration, it will not come in. But that's as I said, as parents, we should be able to know when and how to talk about our leaders before our children. It's very, very important.
But you're saying that on authority. Are you sure you've not checked the party cards of the parents of these students?
I have not.
Just to be sure if they're not NDC, right?
I have not, and I am not interested in finding out.
Right.
Because it is the life of somebody who is at stake, and the future of the children. That is what is paramount. It is not whether they are NDC, MPP, or CTP.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we indeed have seen your call. We'll continue to be explaining that in the course of the day. But I'm grateful Peter Nochu Koto is ranking on Parliament's Education Committee. I want to bring in now Yao Poku Mensah, speaks for the Ministry of Education as well. And this is a shocking decision to some. The reactions have been mixed. Some believe that, yes, indeed, punitive measures, but this is high-handed. How do you respond to that?
Any way that you look at it, we never expected students to be putting out this behavior. We never anticipated that they could do that. So therefore, any punishment that is meted out to anybody in that direction becomes high-handed. And we should realize that within the space, as we define learning as a relative permanent change, the change that we are expecting is relative, and it should be seen within the confinement of our sociological progress. So therefore, anybody who puts up a behavior that is untoward, especially with regards to what we are seeing, definitely you are calling on authorities to strike. And when that strike comes, it should be deterrent enough to deter others from not repeating that same misgiving that you're giving out. And that is the fundamental aspect that we need to look at where the punishment is coming from. It will shock you, just as it shocked me when I first saw the video. And I believe the first thing that you ask yourself, what kind of children are we breeding now? And before we could say Jack, and if we don't act now, definitely it will tilt or degenerate into others, and we wouldn't have that remedy to curtail that. So therefore, it is important that we didn't want it in this way, but we needed to strike and put an end to that and ensure that behaviors are desirable within our education space.
Many are focused on the decision that you've just taken, but I'm also interested in what your investigations unraveled. Do we know the circumstance under which, for instance, the footage was taken? Because these are SHS students. They are not allowed to be in possession of mobile phones on campus. How did that happen?
Yeah, if you look at the investigation committee set out by the school and the outcome of the whole process and their recommendation, mind you, the recommendation to dismiss came within that aspect from the recommendation of the committee itself, affirmed by the governing board throughout to the district, region, to GS quarters and the council as well. You look at it and you get to realize how difficult the decision taken in this light would be. But we had no option than to give our punitive sanction to serve as deterrent to others. But the most important thing is that, as the ranking member said, socialization starts from the home. we have the core responsibility to ensure that we mold our awards in a light that is well accepted within the cultural space.
But I'm asking my question. I'm asking my question on a basis, and the basis is because we don't know for a fact if these students were influenced, for instance, by an intruder who came onto campus to say, well, repeat after me, say these words, and I'll give you money in return or any favor in return. We're not sure of the circumstance under which this video was procured and subsequently placed on social media, obviously not by these students. So that's why I'm asking about the details. What circumstance led to this? Are we sure if indeed the mobile phone wasn't for the students?
Yeah, the investigation went into all this. The investigation went as far as establishing whether there was an influence in that, what motivated the student to do to engage in that or to do that. But the investigation again established that they did that on their own accord. I.e., what it means is that they were aware of whatever they were doing, and they accepted guilt, accepted an owner to the video that came out. So that is what the investigation went as far to dig out, and even why they were using mobile phones when they know it is against the rules of the school. So it's important that we do also avert our minds to what the committee's investigation unraveled. They have taken responsibility of their own action. We have affirmed that they did that without the influence of anybody. So if you own up to your own action, then definitely authorities will have to apply the sanctions as expected. And mind you, every SHS student, immediately you enter Form 1, you are taken through an orientation process conducted under the guidance and counseling unit of the school. Secondary schools do have a guidance and counseling unit with a head, and the heads are responsible for ensuring that they go through that orientation process where the do's and don'ts of the school, if you do this, the appropriate punishment which will be given out to you is spelled out clearly to them. And even in some schools, you go there, you hear the siren playing, what students are expected to do, what you can't do, and if you do this, the punishment that goes with the action that you take. So all these are in there. And even if you take their exert book, the do's and don'ts are still spelled at the back of the exert book with the appropriate punishment printed in the book. So we cannot say we are not aware or we didn't know the consequences of the action that we were taking.
And now,
definitely, they knew what they were doing.
Okay.
And we had no option than to apply the sanction as affected.
Now we're seeing another video, an apology to the president, first of all. And the president is also being invited, not just by these students, but by their parents, the public. And now we have the minority in parliament also asking the president to revise the decision. What are we likely to see GES do on this? At least some say suspension, deboardinize them. These are all options that are available to you. What will you do now?
You are telling me it hasn't come to our attention yet, but I believe authorities, as we look into the space, when it comes to our attention, definitely authorities will look at it and see how best we can remedy it. But I think as a parent, elderly people within the society, as we do have a certain culture that we need to maintain. And within that cultural space is where we have to operate so that we conform to societal norms and values. But if we go wayward, as we've seen now, then definitely we are inviting the striking stick to be used on us. And I think this should be a clarion call on all of us, especially students everywhere, that we need to take a clue from this, advise ourselves to desist from activities that wouldn't create a conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning. What is important is that you stay in the classroom and come out with a better learning outcomes that yourself and your parents will be proud of, but not to be engaging in some of these activities. And if you do that, you have no option than to apply the appropriate sanction, and that is what has happened. So
you're basically telling me, you're basically telling me that you're not going to accept the apology you will not do anything about this?
No, I haven't said that. I said that you are telling me, when it comes to attention, authorities will look at all of what is happening within the space and take an action on that. And that doesn't lie within my purview to tell you that this is what will happen on that because I'm not part of management and I'm not part of council. So authorities in there, when it gets to their attention, definitely will take a decision on it.
What would you have done? And that should have been the question. If this was a different person,
what would I have done?
And by extension, the Ghana Education Service. If there was a different personality involved here, many believe because the president's name has been mentioned, the president is involved. That's why you are acting in such a high-handed manner. Well, these are some of the concerns that are coming through. It's not appropriate for an insult.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, but because the president is involved, that's why you're doing this.
Yeah, no, can you repeat the very words that the students used on the president?
I don't think that's friendly to TV right now.
No, yes, because you can't repeat same. So it tells you the gravity of what we are discussing. And it tells you the net effect that probably may have on other students if we are not bold and firm on the decisions that we take. Mind you, we are looking at the spillover. The thousands of students who see this probably as a bold action and they want to take that same action. And then that wouldn't augur well for our society. So therefore, we take the action today to avert some like this occurring in the future. It has nothing to do with, the personality of the president is important. And within our criminal record, verbal abuse is criminal. How much more insulting the president in that light? So I think we shouldn't encourage taking the personality of the president out where we have students verbally abusing even their colleagues shouldn't be entertained. How much more insulting or abusing elders? That is what we need to instill in our students. That is what we need to instill in our young people for them to be responsible, own up to their activities, and ensure that they conform to societal rules, values, and norms that we do operate as Ghanaians.
Are you closing your doors to the parents? Is that what you're doing?
No. No, the Director General's door is open 24/7, and he keeps telling people that even his windows are open. We are open. We do cooperate with our stakeholders. Parents are major stakeholders. Anybody within the space are major stakeholders. And we are open for dialogue and cooperation. And definitely when the issues come, we look at the merit of it, we look at it, we sit and discuss it. What we are interested in is to ensure that we establish a conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning that gives us the learning outcome that is desirable, where we are proud of what we are doing. So therefore, anything that comes across that serves as a distortion or a distraction in achieving that feat, we wouldn't entertain it. We will ensure that we maintain the discipline, we ensure that we maintain the peace on our campuses, we ensure that all students have that level of freedom to learn in peace and do well in their academic achievements. That is what we stand for.
And I guess this is also, very finally, and I just want you to be brief on this, this is also reinforcing the conversation around the use of a mobile phone and electronic gadgets on campus. Will this further reinforce the need for some reforms in terms of, policy measures that the GES will be adopting in the coming days?
Yeah, exactly. It's a call on the table. We're looking at the code of conduct for students. Very soon, that will be announced or launched out for everybody to see. So, where if you cross the line, what the net effect will be. So, the conversation keeps going on, but still, we need to understand that within our public space, especially within our SHS, mobile phone usage is not part of the process, and therefore parents and students should be mindful of, especially when you have the gadget and you don't use it for learning. That wouldn't help anybody. So within the space, we are still regulating it, and when we can, definitely we will have that strong discussion on it.
Okay then. Well, we'll keep monitoring the space. This is not over, so definitely we'll reconnect afterwards. Yao Pokumensa, I'm grateful for your time here on The Pulse. And still ahead, we're looking at Ghanaian nurses. In recent years, Ghanaian nurses have been the target of many issues. They have a lot confronting them. And of course, you've seen the recent back and forth between doctors and nurses. And we'll discuss all of that, the brain drain and other concerns emerging, including their base pay as well. We'll talk all about that and more right here on The Pulse, but we'll do that after this break. Please stay with us.